Here's the Ben Reilly Spider-Man from the new retro Spidey wave, and the figure is looking awesome. We have the same retro Spidey packaging just like the previous waves. Here's the Ben Reilly Spider-Man picture at the front, and here's the back with the character bio and also the rest of the figures in the wave. This packaging is really awesome, just like the 90s Spider-Man Toy Biz figures, and I really hope there's plenty of Spider-Man waves coming up in this retro packaging. Let's get the figure out. Here's the figure on the clamshell, really looking awesome, and check out these figure swaps that I did to make it look like variants of the Ben Reilly Spidey. Here is the figure out of the packaging. It comes with the web shooting hands, wall crawling hands, and a pair of fists. I think it's really mandatory for a Spidey figure to have all these 3 pairs of hands. Hasbro should really do this all the time for all the Spidey figures. It would have been really good if they included the Ben Reilly head, because now it's really difficult to find the Retrowave Scarlet Spider just to get the Ben Reilly head. Here's the fist and wall crawling hand. It's pretty much the same as all the previous Spidey figures except that it has the Ben Reilly appearance. There's plenty to talk about the appearance. Let's first bring out the Absorbing Man Wave Ben Reilly Spidey and also the Retrowave Spidey. The new Ben Reilly figure has the same body mold as the Retrowave Spidey, which is really awesome. The previous one has the same body mold as the Pizza Spidey. So we really have the best of both worlds, and it's really down to you which one you prefer. Because to me, both of them are great. The appearance of the new Ben Reilly Spidey is exactly the same as the comics, just like the Absorbing Man Ben Reilly Spidey. Between the two paintworks of the figure, I actually prefer the blue on the previous version because in the comics, most of the time his blue is drawn kind of in a darker shade. So the new Retrowave Spidey has kind of a brighter blue, almost to the point of purplish in my opinion. It's not so bad, the figure still looks good overall, but I definitely prefer the darker blue on the previous Ben Reilly Spidey. For the paintwork, it would be really great if there is a few of these and you can scrutinize which one you want to pick, because for mine, the paintwork isn't exactly great. There are some blemishes here and there. You can see the red paint blotch over here and also a black paint blotch over here. Not too obvious, but obvious enough for me. The paint at the back is kind of decent, but the spider logo isn't painted that well on this leg here and also on this part. But this one is an easier fix because I can just take a black marker and paint it over. The webline paintworks on my figure is also a disappointment because you can see it's not painted well, especially on this side. This part over here is also not painted that well. The line kind of overlaps. At the back is kind of okay. When compared with my Retro Spidey, you can see the web lines are really painted so much better on this one. So this is really down to bad QC. There is also a slight difference in the design of the mask. You can see there is a small circle at the nose bridge area for the Ben Reilly costume, but for the Retro Spidey costume, there isn't. The web lines on the side of the legs are okay for mine. For the web shooters, both of the Ben Reilly Spideys have dull web shooters. The new one is slightly more shiny than the previous one, but both of them really don't shine enough. The one that has the shiniest web shooter is actually from the Rhino BF Wave Scarlet Spider with these web shooters. It's definitely silver in color and it also has the lines around it, just like in the comics. So a custom idea for both of these web shooter is for you to paint it silver and use a black or grey pen to paint into the grooves of the lines around the web shooter. The lines are engraved inwards. So if you use a super fine marker, you can just simply draw into it easily without making any crooked lines. On that note, the Rhino Wave Scarlet Spider web shooters doesn't have engraved lines. Those black lines were painted. For the previous Ben Reilly figure, there isn't a black outline between the red and the blue paintwork, but for the new Retrowave Ben Reilly Spidey, there is a black outline between the red and the blue parts. Just a minor difference. Which one do you guys prefer? The one with the line or without the line? Because usually his appearance is kind of shaded and you can't really see clearly the black line, so it's really down to your preference whether you like the line being there or not. At the back of the thigh, there is a serial number for the previous Ben Reilly Spidey figure. It's better that there isn't any number on the newer figure. Another thing is that for the past classic costume Spidey figures, there's always been the issue of having the pack red in color and having them being obvious on this side of the arm. Not a problem for the arms of the Ben Reilly Spidey because it is blue on both sides. But on the knees, however, you can see this obvious red pack because they have to match the red on the other side. So that's one thing. For the new Ben Reilly Spidey, the pack over here is red in color and you can see the obvious red on the inner side of the figure. But for the Absorbing Man with Ben Reilly Spidey, the pack is actually blue. So it is blue on the inner side and then on the outer side, you can see the blue over the red. I think I would have preferred the pack to be blue because the inner side is more obvious. You can see this really obvious red dot compared to the Absorbing Man wave whereby it is less obvious because from the front, you really can't see the packs at the side. So it is less likely for you to see this blue pack compared to this red pack. But yeah, the solution is actually pinless joints, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon on this body mold. They'll probably have to make a new one, then they will get rid of these pins and pegs on the joints. For articulation, it has the same range as the Retro Spidey. The figure has a double ball joint, which has a notch at the back, which allows it to move back more. So the head is able to tilt left and right, look up this much, and down. Quite a very good range of head movement. And of course, all around. Arms go up sideways this much. Bicep swivel. Double hinge elbow joint. Wrist swivel and hinge. Arms go all around as usual. Shoulder butterfly joint able to be pushed back this much. And this much forward. The mid-torso joint allows it to move sideways and also forward and back. And the ab crunch allows it to move forward even more and back. The figure is able to do this much split and this much frontal split, or I like to call this the Van Damme split. It has the drop down hip joints just like the Retro Spidey figure. Legs go up this much to the front. Thigh swivel. Double hinge knee joint. Calf swivel. Ankle hinge up and down. And ankle pivot. Articulation on this figure is really great. Now for some swapping of the parts, here is the Retro Spidey with the Pizza Spidey head. Looks quite okay. And here he is with the Ben Reilly head from the Retro Scarlet Spider, looking good as well. Here he is with the half mask head from the Pizza Spidey. And the Peter Parker head from the all new, all different Spider-Man. The web shooters of the figure can be removed, just like the Absorbing Man with Spidey. I think the web shooters from the Scarlet Spider definitely makes this figure look better. The paintwork of the web shooters really should have been silver like this. Here's the Retro Spidey with the Carnage head and clawed hands from the previous Ben Reilly Spidey figure. The head fits the figure and actually looks good. The bulkier look of this retro Ben Reilly Spidey definitely makes the Spider-Carnage look better, just like in the animated series where he is kind of more muscular and buffed up. However, the hands are different in shade of blue and it's quite obvious. So here's the 3 Ben Reilly Spidey figures that we've gotten from Hasbro so far. This one is from the Absorbing Man wave, and this is actually from the early Hasbro era from the Ares BAF wave. He's actually kind of smaller compared to the recent Hasbro figures. The web shooters on this figure is actually decent though, silver in color, and has kind of a better sculpt. I've tried to swap this with the recent Hasbro figures. It doesn't really work because the circumference of this web shooter is slightly wider, so it will be kind of dangling on the wrist of the Hasbro figures. It doesn't work and doesn't really look that nice if I were to transfer this over to the Hasbro Spidey figures. And here's the Rhino Wave Scarlet Spider, Retro Wave Scarlet Spider, Retro Wave Spidey, and Pizza Spidey. For me, I really like both of them. I like the lean look of the Pizza Spidey body. At the same time, I also like the more buff look of the Retro Spidey body. So yeah, I'm definitely going to keep all of these because I like both of them. And the fact that we can mix and match most of the accessories across each other is really good. So yeah, the new Ben Reilly figure is really great. And if you like the retro Spidey body mold, you really should get the new brand Reilly Spidey. Thanks for watching. Do check out my other comparison and reviews at my channel.